How Mark Zuckerberg became wealthy, the untold story behind his success. What happens when a boy genius, born into a family of brains and bandwidth, decides to rewrite the rules of human connection? How does a fencing prodigy from Dobbs Ferry go from coding in his pajamas to facing Congress in a suit? Why did one of his closest friends become his fiercest courtroom rival? And what in the metaverse made Wall Street clutch its pearls when he rang the Nasdaq bell? In a hoodie? This isn't just a tech story, it's a digital odyssey, a tale of betrayal, billion-dollar gambles, frat-party romance, and a virtual empire built on likes, shares, and secrets. From Harvard dorm rooms to global domination, from lawsuits to love stories, from data disasters to digital dreams, this is the full-blast saga of Mark Zuckerberg. What did Sean Parker whisper that changed everything? And when Zuckerberg said, "The biggest risk is not taking any risk," was he predicting the rise or the fall of Meta? Mark Zuckerberg entered the world on May 14, 1984, in White Plains, New York, a date that would later be etched into the annals of tech history. His family wasn't just smart. They were practically a think tank disguised as a household. Edward Zuckerberg, his father, was a dentist by trade, but a techie at heart. He ran his dental practice like a Silicon Valley startup, complete with early adoption of digital tools and a curiosity for gadgets that rivaled Inspector Gadget himself. Karen Kempner, Mark's mother, was a psychiatrist, a master of decoding the human mind. Between her psychological insight and Ed's technical tinkering, Mark was raised in a home where intellect wasn't just encouraged, it was expected. The Zuckerberg household in Dobbs Ferry, New York, was a reformed Jewish enclave of curiosity, conversation, and yes, fencing. Mark didn't just dabble in swordplay, he captained the fencing team at Phillips Exeter Academy, slicing through opponents with the same precision he'd later apply to code. At age 11, while most kids were still figuring out how to beat level 3 of Super Mario, Mark built ZuckNet, a messaging system that connected his father's dental office to their home. It was like Slack, but for molars. He started at Ardsley High School, where he quickly outpaced the curriculum and transferred to Phillips Exeter Academy, a breeding ground for future senators, scholars, and tech moguls. There, Mark dazzled teachers with his programming prowess, built early AI music software called Synapse, and even took graduate-level computer courses at Mercy College while still in high school. The New Yorker famously quipped, "Some kids played computer games. Mark created them." In 2002, Mark entered Harvard University, majoring in psychology and computer science, a combination that would later prove prophetic. He lived in Kirkland House, joined Alpha Epsilon Pi, a Jewish fraternity, and quickly became known as the campus code whisperer. Then came FaceMash in 2003, a site that let students rank each other's attractiveness. It was juvenile, controversial, and wildly popular. It also crashed Harvard's servers and earned Mark a disciplinary wrist slap. But the seed was planted. Social interaction could be digitized, gamified, and monetized. On February 4, 2004, in a dorm room with Eduardo Saverin, finance, Dustin Moskovitz, code, Andrew McCollum, graphics, Chris Hughes, PR, Mark launched the Facebook, a digital student directory exclusive to Harvard. It spread like wildfire, jumping to other Ivy League schools, then Stanford, then the world. But behind the scenes, storm clouds brewed. Enter Cameron and Tyler Winklevoss, twin Harvard rowers with Olympic physiques and a startup idea called Harvard Connection, later Connect U. They had hired Mark to help build their site. Instead, they claimed he built his own. In 2004, they filed a complaint. In 2008, they settled for $65 million in cash and stock. The twins later tried to reopen the case, arguing they were misled about Facebook's valuation. The courts replied with a firm, nope. Mark's alleged response? If you were the inventor of Facebook, you'd have invented Facebook. Cold. Brutal. Legendary. In 2004, Sean Parker, the co-founder of Napster, stumbled upon the Facebook and saw gold. He reached out, charmed Mark, and became Facebook's first president. Sean brought swagger. He wore suits like a rock star and partied like one too. Strategy. He convinced Mark to drop the from the Facebook. Funding. He secured a $500,000 investment from Peter Thiel, the PayPal co-founder. Parker's influence was electric. He helped move Facebook to Palo Alto, introduced Mark to Silicon Valley's elite, and gave the company its first taste of venture capital. But his wild lifestyle eventually led to his exit in 2005. After a cocaine-related arrest at a party, no charges were filed. Eduardo Saverin, the Brazilian-born finance whiz, was Mark Zuckerberg's roommate and first investor. In 2004, he poured $1,000 into Facebook and became its chief financial officer. He handled the business side, while Mark coded like a caffeinated wizard. But as Facebook grew, so did tensions. Eduardo wanted to monetize early. Mark wanted to scale. Eduardo was in New York chasing advertisers. Mark was in Palo Alto chasing users. The friendship frayed. In 2005, Mark pulled a corporate sleight of hand worthy of Machiavelli with a MacBook. He created a new Delaware company to acquire the original Florida LLC. This maneuver diluted Eduardo's shares from around 30% to less than 10%. Eduardo was blindsided. He sued, alleging breach of fiduciary duty and misuse of funds, market realist +1. The case was settled in 2009. Eduardo walked away with a cool 4 to 5% stake in Facebook, worth billions when the company went public. He also retained the title of co-founder, a symbolic olive branch. Today he lives in Singapore, richer than Croesus, investing in startups and sipping cocktails far from Zuckerberg's shadow. On May 18, 2012, Facebook went public. Mark rang the Nasdaq bell wearing, brace yourself, a hoodie. Wall Street clutched its pearls. "Where's the suit?" they cried. But Mark was making a statement. Silicon Valley doesn't dress up for anyone. The IPO raised $16 billion, making it one of the largest in history. But technical glitches on Nasdaq's platform and overvaluation led to a rocky start. Shares stumbled, lawsuits followed, critics called it a flop. Still, Mark emerged as the youngest self-made billionaire at age 28, not 23. He was 23 when Facebook hit its first billion-dollar valuation. The hoodie became iconic. The message? I built this. I'll wear what I want. In 2018, the real storm hit. Cambridge Analytica, a British political consulting firm, harvested data from 87 million Facebook users without consent. They used it to target voters in the 2016 U.S. election and the Brexit referendum. Mark was summoned before Congress. He sat stiffly, blinking like a malfunctioning chatbot, and delivered the now legendary line, "Senator, we run ads." The internet exploded, memes flew. Zuckerberg became a symbol of tech's moral blind spot. The scandal led to tighter regulations, global outrage, and a reckoning on data privacy. Facebook's reputation took a hit, but Mark? He absorbed it like a sponge in a storm. Mark met Priscilla Chan at a Harvard frat party in 2003. She was studying biology and had the patience of a saint. Their courtship was quiet, nerdy, and sweet. They bonded over science, philanthropy, and the occasional ramen binge. On May 19, 2012, the day after Facebook's IPO, they married in a surprise backyard ceremony. Guests thought they were attending Priscilla's med school graduation. Instead, they witnessed a billionaire wedding with 0 paparazzi and 1 adorable dog. They now have 3 children and co-founded the Chan Zuckerberg Initiative, pledging to donate 99% of their Facebook shares over their lifetime to causes like education, health, and criminal justice reform. Mark once said, "We want to give every child the chance to reach their full potential." In October 2021, Mark rebranded Facebook as Meta, betting the farm on the metaverse, a virtual world where avatars roam free and reality is optional. Critics scoffed. Investors panicked. The stock dipped. But Mark doubled down, pouring billions into VR, AR, and AI. He declared, "The metaverse is the next chapter of the internet." Whether it's a visionary leap or a digital delusion remains to be seen. But Mark's commitment is unwavering. He's building a world where meetings happen in virtual forests and your avatar wears Gucci. Mark Zuckerberg has been named Time's Person of the Year 2010, featured on Forbes' richest lists, portrayed in pop culture as genius, villain, robot, and meme. His regrets? Not acting sooner on misinformation, not foreseeing the weaponization of his platform, not preventing the erosion of trust in social media. But his resilience is unmatched. He once said, "The biggest risk is not taking any risk." Before we dive in, make sure to follow us, hit that subscribe button, and click the notification bell so you never miss a drop of our most intriguing, jaw-dropping stories. Trust us, you won't want to miss what's coming next. Next up, Larry Page.